and Vinny, we almost have a ban, but even more importantly, between those two, we have a classic OS matchup, Dev. It's Wildcard and Chiefs coming up. This one is sure to be a close affair. Wildcard are on the up and up, and well, Chiefs, I feel like they've shown us enough this year to really warrant some confidence in their performance.
Well, that's it. This is the old versus the new. Last season, 2020 Wildcard were the undisputed champions. This season, it seems to be Chiefs. They won Stage 1 championship and they're hungry for more, but it hasn't been without its hiccups, Rob. They have had a little bit of a slow start, especially when the competition is so thick with teams like Bliss and Knights. But despite that, Chiefs should be reasonably happy with their OCN progress so far. Currently sitting in second place, also defeating Knights recently in both OCN and APAC South, especially on the back of that massive 1v3 clutch from Worthy. Did a bit of an interview with him last week as well, and you can really just see that Chiefs is undoubtedly one of, if not the most well-supported team in the OS region.
Oh, without a doubt, you would have to say that they really have been putting up some incredible results, and maybe it is because of the fact that they're so looked after. You just don't know. You don't know how. Oh, Fast! What's going on? Oh,
wait a second.
Yeah, he's had a haircut. What's going on?
What do you mean? Is it a haircut if you don't have any hair left?
Oh no, what has happened here? I mean, to be honest, he looks like a Stone Cold Killer. I reckon that suits him.
I need him to just like lean in, look directly down the lens and just put his finger up and say, "Boy, mate. Boy, look at me."
Oi, mate, look at me. I'll see if he'll do it for us when we get him on the interview, if they win, I guess. But of course, their counterparts today are Wildcard, the team that have been coming back to form, and a terrifying prospect when you look at this roster. The addition of Milo cannot go unstated. It has just been massive for the entire roster. But also, I feel like one individual that we can never talk about enough is Rousty, right? We don't know how much of an actual impact he's had. I think we've asked a couple of questions in the interviews, but it just seems like everything coincided at the right time for this team, didn't it?
Totally, yeah. Coming into Stage 2, they obviously had been playing with Salix, their manager. Now Salix can stop stressing, go back to teaching uni, and we get Milo in as a red-hot young player who's got his head screwed on right, really eager to improve. Plus Rousty, as you mentioned, formerly the coach of Rogue, so he has some significant international experience coaching. They actually came first in EUL back in Stage 1 last year, so he definitely brings a lot of experience, as do a lot of the players on this roster. They are starting to pick back together the pieces, Rob. They're not quite there yet, back to where they were, but they are making their way there, aren't they?
They certainly are. And two things I've got to say. One, why does Emo Rin always get the most unfortunate freeze frames for his camera? Straight up.
He was frozen.
I
thought he was just staring.
But also, who is behind Vinny? Who is this mysterious man? That is not his usual gaming spot. He's got LED light strips and all sorts, looking like $1 million. And they are too. You were saying it, you've prefaced it quite a bit. Wildcard, they are certainly looking like they may well be back to the form that we saw them in 2020. Now, I think that the big disclaimer we've got to put there is they could be back to that form, but I feel like the entirety of OS has kind of closed the gap on the skill discrepancy as it was.
I think it's really hard to talk about Wildcard in relation to the 2020 Wildcard and the Wildcards of the past, because if we look way back, like the Wildcard that really peaked globally was like the Tokonami and Six Invitational 2020 Wildcard, and there's only one player left from that roster, and that is Emo, which is just ridiculous to think, right?
Yeah.
Even the support staff have kind of changed roles as well. And if you look at the 2020 wildcard that was really dominant in OS, yeah, we still have 4 out of 5 there, but Milo coming in for Diesel has really changed how this team works. The meta's changed a lot. Diesel was like really rigid, like kind of micromanagey IGL kind of thing, and Wildcard have very much stepped away from that. They're trying to really lean into this more aggressive, more kind of individual talent style of play rather than really just being hyper-structured. And I think that's the right move. They're still finding their feet. they're not there yet, and they're not ever going to be the 2020 wildcard. Like, that's why I think everyone has to get through their heads. Like, that is just a ghost that is haunting them and chasing them. And the sooner that they can get out of their own heads and stop trying to be that wildcard of the past, the sooner they are going to start winning championships.
I would love to see what their thoughts are on that exactly, whether they feel like that is the big looming picture behind them, because it certainly could be, Dev. Now let's have a look at the vetoes and see whether it's going to favor the Chiefs or Wildcard. I feel like we haven't seen the depth of Wildcard's map pool for a long time. Chiefs, man, what is it about Consulate that you try to force so hard? It was, of course, Coastline or Consulate that were left as the deciding factor. Chiefs not taking an opportunity on Clubhouse to even allow Wildcard into that game, because they are looking red hot on that map. But certainly Consulate, there's a lot of questions here, Dev.
Chiefs must have expected this to go to Consulate when they banned Club, because Wildcard just don't play Coastline. So yeah, this is just clearly this is where it was going to go. Historically, Wildcard was always a strong team on Consulate, and that has changed in more recent history. But even in Stage 1, even with Silex subbing in, they still pushed Bliss to 12 rounds, and Bliss ended up having a really strong season. So even though Wildcard lost that game 5-7, I'd say that's a pretty confidence-instilling stat for Wildcard here. Yeah, you did mention Chiefs and Consulate kind of being a bit of a dog for them. We do roast them pretty hard, but this was a map that just was not in their repertoire for the longest time until they started playing it in Stage 2 this year with Invictus. They beat Invictus 8-7, which is an awesome stat, but then they lost to Order in APAC South 4-7, and that is the more recent result. Honestly here, I think I put down Chiefs. I would definitely be switching to Wildcard right now, having seen the veto.
It's curious to me that we are going to Consulate out of all the maps. Obviously, when you look back at what Chiefs have banned, you're looking at the fact that those are 3 of the comfortable maps for Wildcard: Cafe, Oregon, and Clubhouse. That's kind of to be expected. So I guess this was really a decision that was left in Wildcard's hand as to what they were going to play. I feel like Chalet could have even been a bit of a curveball, as we know that Chiefs have been a bit hit and miss on that as well. But regardless, Consulate's where we go. This is what we have in store for you, and of course for us, because that's the most enjoyable part of this. We do get to play the game. And speaking of talking about that game, I just don't know how I feel. I don't even know whether I would change my predictions right now, having seen the veto. I still am so uncertain as to who is actually going to be the favored team heading into this. Sure, Chiefs have had a bit of turmoil on that map. Again, as referenced, IG, Order, winning, losing, whatever you want to put on that. I just would hate to see Wildcard be able to sneak a little cheeky victory here. Due to the fact that we are headed to Consulate. There is certainly a bit more of me that says this is Wildcard. This is their chance.
It's hard to say because Wildcard do not have the head-to-head. Last 2 times these teams played each other, it has been all Chiefs. But here on Consulate, Wildcard have an opportunity. Let's see what they can do with it.
Will the stream run red or blue tonight? That's the big question. We're about to find out. Straight into the ban phase. This will be sure to decide a little bit. Oh, the voice broke a little bit there. Decide a little bit. Please. Surely we see a common Thatcher or Nomad in here. I feel like one or the other, if not both. There's Digital for you, by the way. We found him.
Glad he rocked up.
It's kind of like, where's Wally? Oh, and there he is, gone again.
See ya. It's all right. They don't need him. Does he really do that much anyway?
Good ban. Good ban.
Yeah,
happy to see the Flores slowly and surely getting taken. It's just Flores' impact is hugely dramatic when you think about certain maps, and I feel like Consulate is one of those maps where you can just clear so much. You're thinking about Yellow Stairs, you're thinking about the basement hold out in Garage. They're just a little bit uncomfortable, and taking that Flores away makes things a little bit more doable.
Definitely does, and U2 Clear is going to have to be come in a different form.
Ooh.
Wow, okay. Valkyrie is left in, as is Nomad. So we're likely going to see both of those operators picked almost every round here by these teams. Let's have a look at where this leaves us. Mozzie as well hitting the deck is a bit of an unusual one, but trying to deny the info denial and really leverage those drones is going to be ideal for Wildcard. In particular, those Mozzie pests, you can chuck them on the windows, and usually you'll throw like a drone in through the window. It'll get pested as it sends its way through. So I think that was a good ban from Wildcard. Does, however, like I said, leave the Nomad, the Mirror, and the Valkyrie in two really, really common operators on this map.
I'm going to say it right now, Vast is going to utilize the Mirror as Worthy utilizes the Valkyrie. Not a beat has gone past without them thinking, hey, we must utilize this while we have the opportunity to. You've also got Digital and Fisho Guide both on plant denial, which is so important on this map, or particularly, I should say, on this site. Curious to see what their extension looks like, how much of a roam they'll go for. I would dare say God Legion may well sit up in admin for a short time and rotate back down. But with them reinforcing public, you have the feeling like they may not play for that piano hold whatsoever. So surely that second floor will have to be quite a heavy contention point, at least early on.
5 seconds left before...
Yeah, I mean, surely there's got to be some kind of roam here. It looks like it's just going to be God Legion kind of running amok upstairs. Maybe Worthy will come support, especially if there are some Valk cams out there. Bit of a spawn peek at the moment, teased by God Legion. Just from Con upstairs. Doesn't stay too long, however. Him and Worthy, though, will indeed be the two roamers on the top floor. Wildcard could simply go for like just a hard hit of sight here. But I think that they really need to go for map control, considering, like you mentioned, the Echo, and most importantly, that Mirror. They really got to go and take map control. Unfortunately, they do, however, lose Vinny to a DC.
Things you hate to see. That, and also that. Emo Rin gone to, well, from bad to worse, I'll tell you that much. Chiefs, this is a very early start for them, and one that I'm sure Wildcard will be quite frustrated at, all things considered.
Yeah, not a great position to be in here for Wildcard. See if Milo can redeem himself at all. One kill but traded. The Yokai as well coming into support. Now it's just Geo. Does see one of the Yokais and he takes it down, but he's once again in a crossfire. And once again doesn't have audio as he is concussed by the Sonic Burst. The crossfire, he is going to fall, and that is a very, very convincing opening round for the Chiefs.
It is, and it's all 4 kills for Worthy. He's technically got 100% of the kills right now. And just Worthy things. That is a really, really scary player to see up on that top floor and starting to get a bit more confidence. I did just see Pat ask for a rehost, so that's going to be a little bit spicy meatballs, but we'll wait and see. And I did see it to Tachanka there. I feel like they're just clicking on the random operators at the moment. I love to see it to Tachanka. I think that there are multiple scenarios where he works, but the vast majority he doesn't. So it's kind of hit and miss.
We actually are seeing Tachanka have a couple of buffs every now and then. We had the new patch come through. I'm not sure if it's actually... I'll have to double check whether it's actually hit live yet, but Tachanka's had a pretty nice buff, which is always nice. I'll get into that a little bit later should it be relevant. But for now, yeah, it is unfortunately a poor opening round for Wildcard. Look at these guys. They cannot keep themselves contained. So it's Digin and Vast are like the most energetic, right, on cams. But apparently Fisher's a bit of a character. Apparently he is just deadpan and silly. Apparently he just like makes random noises and stuff, and it gets the others to crack up.
Kind of sounds like Guz, but we just don't laugh. You know, it's kind of like...
Pretty much, man.
Just has the failed attempts at being funny. Guz is the budget Fisho guy, is what we're trying to say here. I will say, Worthy's whatever room or studio, whatever that is, looking mighty fresh. I don't think I've seen him in that room before. It's a nice little setup for him. I will give him props. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention to his cam because I'm too busy looking at Digital's Cookie Monster in the background.
I do love the Cookie Monster so much.
It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. Vast, where are you now?
Here we go.
Look at it.
Full screen. I love he's got the footy as well in the background.
Hang on. So his bedside table is his laundry basket? Is that what you're telling me? Oh god!
It looks like that's like a PC case as well that he's just using as a table as well. I'm just glad he's staying hydrated. Look at all the water.
Yeah,
Like to see
water
that.
for days. Water for days. There's one of the best players in the Oceanic region at the moment. Worthy. You know, I will say as well, one thing that these cams are giving us, Dev, is a really good insight as to what these players actually look like, because we haven't seen them for nearly 2 bloody years. It's been a very long time since we've seen anyone, and the player cams are certainly giving us a bit of spice. Last reminding all of you to stay hydrated in chat. If you're watching, pick up that water bottle and sippy sippy. Do so myself, actually.
Good. Do it.
Could
My
you hear
God,
that?
that was way too loud. I really hope that didn't come through the stream because that was actually disgusting. Disgusting.
I guess we'll find out in a little bit. I'll get the message from the boss man.
Oh my God! Someone call the police!
Oh,
What?
It's
All the lads are in. Saturday night. I bet you after the match tonight, Didge is like, I bet you he's gone out on the town after the match tonight, and his mates are like, "Oi, Rain, come on, we're going. We got booking for 8:30." And he's like, "No, mate, just got to quickly smash out this OCN match."
Mate, this happened in Late Night Siege at the start of the year. I think it was Raven and I we had him on and we were having a chat to him, and all of a sudden his mates just rocked up and they were getting ready to go to the city, and we're like, "What are you doing? You got a show to put on here." Oh, the hilarity of this scene. I tell you what, it just keeps building every time. And finally, Emo Rin is not still anymore. He is in fact motion. Oh, goodness me. What a time to be alive. Face cams have given us wonders, Dev, I'll say that.
That's it. So just to touch on what I was saying before about the patch notes. So Year 6 Season 2.2 is actually, by the looks of it, not out yet. Just reading the deets online. So there's quite a few operator balancing changes that will be coming with that Year 6 Season 2.2. But as of right now, it's just live on the test server with some extra changes as well. So, to my knowledge, that's Tachanka buff is not through. But he'll actually have quite a bit more coming through to him. So he'll get deployable shield. He's actually getting a whole bunch more of the Shamika grenades from up to 14 from 10. And the Shamika radius is also going to be a lot larger as well, which is... the radius of the destruction of his gun will be more. So he's going to be better at making rotates and stuff with the big LMG.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Backs with Dev Martyr on a Saturday night. That's what we want.
That's it. I mean, if you're a bit of a nerd, you want to have a look, type in Year 6 Season 2.2 or Y6S2.2, Rainbow Six patch notes. There's interesting stuff in there. Alibi is getting a bit of a buff. Frost getting a little bit of a nerf. Zafia is also getting a bit of a nerf. So... should be interesting when that eventually comes through. Also, exciting one, Favela is going to be coming into ranked and unranked.
That's Pog. That's Pog.
I'm going to be terrible at it. Like, I don't know the map yet at all.
Can anyone really be like truly good at Favela though? Like that's the big question that I've got to ask.
I'm sure it's one of those maps where Nico would like already know all the stats.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. He is just one of those players that will forever amaze us with his random tidbits of information. Now, very quickly, we haven't prefaced yet, but I'm sure you can see it on your screens. We are Archives tellers for this defense. The digital all the way across toward public bathroom. I was kind of getting baited. I thought it might have been lobby, but he will be making his way back down into the basement, and he's going to be so impactful with the information that he can cross. That kind of... I think if you sit in the very corner of Archives, you can almost see pretty much all of the admin wall on the rappel. So when he eventually does get there, he'll surely be able to pass that information on.
Man, just got to tell his mates to go and chill out in the lounge room for now. He's got some work to do. And as you said, good information gathered with the cardiac sensor. Nice job as well with the X-Kairos from Pat. That is a C4, my God, Worthy. I sure hope you had info for that one. If not, very, very cheeky, my friend. Very cheeky.
Wow, it's the things you love to see with Worthy, and it's OCN, and he's got all 5 kills so far. I mean, already on track to be breaking records in this match alone, Dev.
That he is. If this ends up being a close match between these teams and we get a whole heck of a lot of rounds, yeah, very good. Well, very well could see the 20 bomb. I mean, at this rate, he has every kill. It would not take him long whatsoever to reach the 20 bomb. Don't think we've had a 20 bomb yet in OCN Stage 2, actually. I think we've had some people get close, but I'm pretty sure we haven't actually had a full-on 20 bomb.
I mean, this may be the game. This may be the day that we get to see it. We might break records here in Stage 2. Would love to see it. And, I mean, who other than Milo? Now, let's bring our attention to Wildcard for a second, because 40 seconds left. Have they started to do enough? It feels like with the fact that you still got the cardiac sensor on the very first or basement floor, you still have a C4. You're going to be able to play for that denial. Could get really hairy for Wildcard and God Legion in this position. This is not good. Oh, he's been spotted.
Oh! There's actually an execute going down, though, with Wildcard. Pat bakes out the defuse, and Gio does manage to get a kill on the back of it. Digital going to be trying to leverage the C4s. That's a nice one, and as well with God Legion on for the flank, finds the double. And now it's just Gio left. What looked to be a very nice execute for Wildcard has fallen apart. Thanks to Digital's vertical play on the C4s from his teammates. And that is 2 in a row now for Chiefs.
We've actually seen the Pulse being banned out a couple of times on Consulate, and for that exact reason. The amount of information you can get, especially on that Archives Tellers defense, it is huge. It can really turn the tide of an entire round. And it felt like Wildcard were actually coming back into that one, right? They were starting to go for that plant, but the second that they know where that defuse is being stuck, where the kid is going to be, they can just put pressure on them. Wildcard just aren't in a position to either refrag or go for the plant on the outside. It was God Legion, however, we've got to admit, from Z that just absolutely derailed that completely. Now, unfortunately, our great mate Vinny has decided to... No, he hasn't decided to. He's DC'd again, which leaves us once again with these incredible face cams, and for us to probably dissect that round a little bit more and do our jobs.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that it's pretty clear cut there. Nice early pick from Chiefs, and then following up, Wildcard got a bit baited there into the Tellers execute. That's kind of the strat when it comes to defending Tellers Archives. It's something anyone can really take into their own gameplay, be it casual or ranked. If you want to defend that bomb site like a pro, do not play on the bomb site. Play downstairs in Archives, bring a pulse, bring your as many info gathering ops as you can, maybe a Valkyrie, maybe an Echo, and just bring a ton of C4s. When that plant starts to go down, you can absolutely destroy anyone on the attack trying to get that plant down and Tellers. It's often a very good bait strategy. Works really well in ranked, I find, as long as you don't get rushed downstairs.
God, you're sweaty.
People just look for the easiest point of ingress. When they see, hey, there's no one in Tellers, let me just jump in and try plant. And then the floor is lava. So Wildcard were kind of a victim of that bait. Of course, they would have known that there was a play below, and they did get the opening pick. I was Geo watching with the Buck, but it was too much for them. And Chiefs looking pretty chill at the minute. Once again, they're just like, come on, is this over yet? I've got bevies with the boys.
Got places to be, that's for sure. Again, here's your time to stay hydrated. Everyone, headphone warning. Headphone warning. Not this time. Not this time. Oh, I heard it.
Did you hear that? That was the good one.
The little... Oh, I can't do it. Nah, I can't. I'm trying to...
Please,
you know that thing where you hit your
don't.
cheek and you...
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll just do a... You know, one of those ones.
That'll get you.
Yeah, I mean, look... I do think that I'm trying to think of how many sites you can really just turn into a kill box. How many sites are actually like strategically viable at a competitive level to do that kind of thing? I just don't think there's many. I think it's one of only very few, if any, where you can have such a huge effect not even playing on that floor whatsoever. It's pretty scary, actually.
Yeah, well, that is kind of the case with Consulate, though. A lot of these bomb sites, you're not actually playing inside. As a defender, you're kind of playing a little bit out. And, for example, you've got, like, lobby, right? You don't actually really play in lobby. You play all around it. Now, I got OJ in the DMs right now telling me that Boydie drops 20 against Order. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry, OJ. I'm sorry, mate. And Boydie as well, especially since Boydie had a bit of a shocker today. So he deserves all the credit for that 20 bomb he already dropped. So, look, if Worthy does get on it tonight, then I'm afraid he was not the first.
Just to say, get on it. We're talking about the 20 kills, nothing.
The
else
20
on
kills,
Saturday
nothing
night.
else.
Nothing else on a Saturday night. Just got to make sure.
Maybe
we
a bit of
clarify
orange
that.
juice.
Oh, gee. Yeah, fair enough. That's fair play. It's it's an incredible thing to see. The gamers on a Saturday night, seeing how they are mentally there for a game. I mean, feels like Emo Rin is always very, very serious about his. Oh God! And the second we cut back, of course, it's just digital having a good old giggle. There's, I'm sitting here trying to talk about Emo Rin, and the second we flick over to anyone else, they're just having a good old chuckle. The boys in blue, they're not shy of a good time. Now, very quickly, why can't I have players in my DMs? That's the real question here, Dev.
You gotta stay stuff that's wrong so they correct you in DMs. That's the play.
Are you saying that I have never said anything wrong?
I don't think once in your life, mate. I don't think
ever.
Once in your life.
I only say correct statements.
You're just so good. You're just so smart, Rob.
Robert Manic Monday. Hype Colorcaster.
Yeah, so we're still just waiting for All Mate to get back in the lobby, but we are very, very close. I can see the lobby right now, and we are very, very close, my friends. So don't go anywhere. If though you do have, I guess, a second, so why don't you just quickly open up another tab and go to R6 Esports OCE on Twitter and go and watch Worthy's interview from last week. He was MVP in the match against Knights. He pulled off an insane clutch when there were 6-5 against them to push overtime. Chiefs ended up winning the round. And yeah, on the back of that, Worthy earned his MVP and I had a lovely chat to him.
Is that a self-plug?
It actually is.
Is that what the kids call a self-plug nowadays? A self-flex?
It actually is.
Well, unfortunately, we're all out of camera juice on the players, so we're going to return to our faces for a hot second. We do apologise for that. Now, I'd love to know what Vinny's playing on. It feels like he's playing on a bloody potato at the moment. He's loaded up the toaster, and he's just DCing left, right, and centre. So we can't seem to get a hold on him, Dev. But, this is a little bit concerning for Wildcard. 2-0 to start with. Chiefs just running away, and the fact that Worthy's already got 5 kills to his name, that kind of rings warning bells for me. That goes, he is pretty switched on tonight. And Worthy not switched on is scary enough as it is. Yeah, and a rare occurrence at that. That's a fair way of putting it as well.
Yeah, another player I've seen not really have an impact. We're only 2 rounds deep, but Milo has definitely been a hot shot for Wildcard. Especially in their game recently. I believe they played Knights on Oregon earlier last week, and he went off. He had an insane game. Unfortunately, they lost it. And yeah, him kind of being a bit cold so far is a little bit of a concern for Wildcard, but I think the biggest thing that Wildcard's got to contend with right now is their own mental fortitude. Yep. If you've got a player having tech issues like this with Vinny, that is just... It really gets to you, man. It really is gutting, and no longer are you focusing on, let's do this play, or let's do that play, or let's have clear comms, or whatever it is that Wildcard have been prepping. They're just thinking, Vinny, are you all right? You back yet? All that. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. So hopefully he does get things sorted, but we'll see. And yeah, hopefully, I guess we'll cross our fingers for that. Can we get a pray for Vinny in chat, please?
Hashtag pray for Vinny. Well, it sounds like that if Vinny continues to DC, they may have to find a replacement. So, yeah,
it would be not good.
Drop him out completely. And,
get Silex on the phone.
Let's get the big bad boy, the big bad wolf back in. Hey, who knows? Maybe it wasn't Silex that was the issue. Maybe it was Vinny was the issue. Hashtag Vinny was the problem. never know.
Well,
You
which
never
Vinny,
really-
right? Silex's first name is actually Vinny. So
It's
if he subs back in, we could literally just keep calling him Vinny, and it would actually make sense.
Maybe so. What doesn't make sense is the fact that Vinny isn't coming back. That's all I'm saying. We're still trying to figure out what's going on there, Dev. I feel like you want to say something. Get it out. Get it out.
I was gonna say like there can only be one Vinny on the team at a time. So Silex has got to get in and install some viruses or something on Vinny's computer so he can be the one true Vinny.
He just keeps running around and turning off the power to Vinny's house. Well, talking about turning off the power, Dev, we're going to power down. Never mind. Don't worry about it. We're not going to power down at all. Luckily enough, my producer's quick on the trigger there. I was about to throw to a cheeky little break, but it looks like we've got the action back in. Don't you worry. There's no breaks here on OCN. It's a 5-hour show straight. It's essentially a podcast with one of your favorite casters and one of your worst. What have I jinxed?
You literally, earlier tonight, you said, 7-1 first game, we're finished by midnight. And here we are. You did this. Rob, this is not acceptable. Not acceptable, mate.
No, I have done this, and you just have to know these things. There's an old rule in broadcasting, and it is one, you don't ever do live math, and we've now got a new rule, which is you never say that we are going to be finishing before 10 on an APAC South night, or 12 on an OCN night. Because the second you say that, the entire night just becomes incredibly cursed.
We're going in!
All sorts of mess. I can hear the music. Woo! Let's go. It's time to get back into the game. Let's hope we don't get debated here, Dev, because it could possibly happen. Who knows what will be the mess, the chaos that may be Vinny if it does happen again. Oh, surely not.
No,
surely.
don't even talk about it, mate. We are back in black here on Consulate. Wildcard versus the Chiefs. Wildcard having some trouble at the moment, but they still have plenty of time to bring it back.
That's the thing. The defense will certainly be telling when we do swap halves. And the biggest talking point for any commentator really in Siege is making sure on a defensive sided map that it doesn't just steamroll out of control. You don't want to find yourself in a place where you can't make a single mistake when you swap halves, and that's what's crucial for Wildcard right now. They have to stay in touch. They have to, at the very least. I mean, obviously you want at least one round, but you really want to be gunning for 2, even 3 at this point. You just cannot allow Chiefs to get comfortable, because they are a team that will certainly kick their feet up and take all that pleasure.
Onus on Wildcard to get back into the game. Not a bad start, all 10 drones still alive here. Attacking this top floor. A bomb site, and I guess the top floor in general. Very hard to get your drones into, especially in the prep phase when you can't throw them up through the windows. But I think the first hurdle that Wildcard are going to have to deal with is these spawn peaks. We've already seen a couple of early aggression and aggressive peaks from Chiefs. So we'll see if they continue to do so.
Pre-prepping all sorts of chaos here just to make sure, especially a team like Chiefs, do some cheeky little hide and go seeks with you if you're not cautious. Show guy at the top yellow. One of the big talking points in the last time we watched Chiefs play Consulate was the fact that the Rotero drones from the Flores, I believe it was of Order, were absolutely demolishing their utility at top yellow. The fact that that's not in play now means you have to go the old-fashioned way, burn through all the utility, and send a nade in. The Fisho guy is completely blind, and Dev, you gave me a heart attack.
Does the nade land? Oh no! He was too late, and the ADS reset. That is absolutely gutting for Wildcard, but just a misplay, a missed time. And they are their own worst enemy. Now Vars is rotated in. Fortunately, one of the ADSs was destroyed when that first nade went off, but the second one's still there. And I mean, this is just so pitiful right now. Look at all the stun grenades that are gone. Emo's all out. Gio has one left. Fortunately, Pat still has a couple, but Emo's lost his head. And Wildcard are really struggling to deal with this yellow stairs hold.
Vars is playing Ring a Rosie at the moment. Not kind at all. can see God Legion at the bottom of yellow as well, so there's no pressure that can be placed on Vast from the bottom of the stairs. It all has to come from the skylight or the window, in which he's not really being contested. Worthy is just going to find himself a 6th kill in 3 rounds, and we're not even at the conclusion of the 3rd. Wildcard are very much with their backs up against the wall.
You're on 5 looking for a peek with Vinny on rappel. Oh, he goes straight on in and straight on out. Worthy says, sorry, mate. You're not allowed in the copy room. Now Milo and Pat will desperately look for a peek. Milo is shut down. Just Pat left. Last man standing in a 1-on-5. Could well be a flawless one. This Digital very much knows where he is. Pitter-patter, the damage goes down onto Pat. Very unlikely he'll find anything. Worthy once again. My God. 8 kills in 3 rounds. And a flawless at that.
Kind of just feels like Count Dracula at the moment, doesn't it? 1 kill. 2 kills. Oh, we're just going to start calling him Count Dracula soon. I'll tell you what.
The more Sesame Street references we get into the broadcast, the better, I reckon. Like, we already got the Cookie Monster in Geo's, Digital's backdrop. You know, the video I sent you the other day, you messaged back and you were like, what is this? It was the Martians from Sesame Street. They are hilarious.
No, they're terrifying, especially at like 1 a.m. in the morning when you're trying to sleep, you know?
100%. 100%.
It was very scary. But I feel like we could liken some of the characters, you know? Who would Oscar the Grouch be? I feel like we need to find like the grouchiest player there is in OCN.
Gotta be Xenox. Sure.
Yes! Oscar the Grouch in the trash can. It's Xenox for sure. I know exactly who Big Bird is, and the only reason I say he's Big Bird is because of the gif of Big Bird kicking down the door, and it's Specker. That's all I can see is Specker coming into my room right now and kicking my door down like the Big Bird. I tell you what.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we got bundles of content here when the players DC.
You're just giving me ideas, man. Just giving me ideas.
We've this is what happens when, you know, we get a bit delirious because we've been talking for a hot minute. It just turns into a bit of a podcast mode. Let's turn it back to a bit of a competitive commentary mode, shall we? It does not look like Wildcard are really in their comfortable seat, if you will. You know, they don't have their booster seat in the back of the car. They can't see over the windows because the Chiefs are just locking them down. Oh, it sucks, man. I'll tell you, it sucks. Maybe we should ask Guz for a play-by-play account on what that's like.
I thought you were going to say Raven, because Raven's
I should have. I should have, but he's not doing OCN anymore.
That's true, he doesn't cast it. Oh, what a shame. I'm definitely a bit scared of Worthy here. We've gone back down to Garage Cafeteria. Now, this was a very, very convincing win for Chiefs. This was when Vinny DC'd. There were 2 outside peaks from Chiefs. Wildcard never even got in the building, except for Yellow Stairs. And I'm definitely scared of Worthy up here. 8 kills so far in the game in just 3 rounds. Very hungry for more. He actually also has a Vault Cam still in his pocket. And you can tell that Wildcard have been feeling the impact of those. That's why they've picked the IQ. And hopefully Geo can clean those up and give Wildcard a little bit more security.
That's a cheeky little peek from Vinny. So those mute jammers off the wall. With that, you would dare say Pat's going to be in a position to open this wall up. There's no one there to contest nor deny. However, I would dare say the Chiefs are not playing for that whatsoever. They're more so convinced that they're going to be able to deny the access to Garage rather than the destruction of it, if you will. But that is still giving so much information to Chiefs, knowing that there's no one towards CEO or long desk. They just need to be cautious of the misinformation with Geo stuck at the top of yellow.
Here's the opener. Once again for Chiefs, every single round so far. God Legion has been running all over. Oh, here it comes. Hello, goodbye. Yeah. Wildcard. Start to send it on through.
Yeah, the problem was Digital had the vertical control. The C4 comes out. God Legion and Worthy need to get a move on because this is not a favorable place to try and Retake from...
My God!
Goodness me, that's the kind of call we needed to see from Wildcard, and on a dime it was.
That's just perfect. What is that? 50 seconds left on the clock. They find a pick, and they're just like, go! They completely send it through. They got a player on yellow. 3 guys send it in through the breach. And, I mean, we talked about Geo. We talked about the IQ pick. I'm just going to say that the G8 did him pretty well just there. I think he found a 3K with it. And I reckon you keep that LMG in his hands.
Could be more dangerous. You never know. Never know. I guess there was a big turning point in that. The Chiefs, I don't know who it was. Someone dry peeked from cafeteria with a C4 in their hand. They got the C4 off, but they weren't able to detonate it, obviously. It was directly where one player was holding and the other was setting the kit down. So if that had hit, it would have been round over for sure. But just such a great moment in time for Wildcard to take that, because that can really be a bit of a momentum stopper for the Chiefs. Now, that, you know, let's actually talk about that for a second. The Chiefs seem to be one of the teams at the moment in Oceania that just don't really get affected by a hell of a lot. And, you know, maybe that's just from their own account. Maybe it'd be different if we saw them on land and saw how tilted they got. But from everything that they've been telling us, those kind of rounds don't seem to affect them that much. So I'd be very curious to see whether, you know, we can kind of put that theory into place here.
God Legion's aggression has been pretty workable so far since the rehost. So that's just 2 rounds. He's already found 3 picks. Very good on the roam, very good on the flank he is. Wildcard is starting to shape up a little bit, Rob, and the fact that they're looking more themselves, looking more in sync, that is I guess, this little bout of confidence that I needed to really start to think that it's possible for Wildcard to get in this game. Especially on the back of just a terrible opening rounds. I think that Wildcard do have a serious shot here. Now, attacking Archives Tellers. Actually going to go for a little bit more of a map clear than we saw previously.
Bomb has been located.
What's that going to give him?
Oh,
Maybe not what he was looking or hoping for, but it certainly gives him a fair bit of information out on that south rappel. Ovas does go down at the hands of Vinny. He starts to turn up in the server. It's going to be all sorts for the Chiefs.
really good stuff for Vinny. Like you said, it's his first opening kill this game, and also he's just been one of those very hit and miss players for Wildcard. Emo does also shut down God Legion. Fisho misses that C4, and bit by bit, it's slipping for the Chiefs. Wildcard edging themselves into a more advantageous position, Rob. And with a numbers advantage, what's great is when they go for that eventual execute onto Tellers, like forcing that plant down, they can also send some bodies downstairs to really kick up a fuss and prevent those C4s from getting detonated safely. Or also, have a look at this.
Yeah, massive damage done from Geo. I don't know whether it was him. Because there was other shots coming. Surely that could not have been him. That would be absolutely outrageous there.
Not worthy though. He's flanked upstairs, but the read comes through. Wildcard gets straight back on it. And they actually manage a flawless round there, Rob.
Well, regardless of what we've been told, it certainly looks like the Chiefs are rattled. That round in particular, so clean from Wildcard. This is what we were talking about. You give them an inch, you take a mile. They are a team that will capitalize on any forced errors. And right now, there has been a fair share of them, to be fair. Now, how do they bounce back? Surely wouldn't be happy with a 3-3 half after the kind of dominant display we saw in the first half of their defense. Though it seems possible for Wildcard.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Well, they've got one last chance here, Rob, in the half on their attack. Now, I would say a 2-4 is possible to come back from for Wildcard, but I'm still very much in the camp that I think Consular is a map where their attack can have some serious bite. I think that top floor, if attacked well, is really, really pitiful for the defense. The fact that Wildcard have already won Garage and already won Archives Tellers forces Chiefs over the lobby, which is quite a strong side for the defense, but I definitely think Wildcard have a shot here. And they got the IQ, for example, very versatile. Not only is it great for finding those Valk cams, which in this case are not present, but also just in general util, right? Like, yeah, of course, I think the obvious thing would be the yokai drones, but you can just spot out where all the mute jammers are, all the ADSs are, even the Banshees, and you can kind of plan the way that you're going to use your util on the back of that. So I think that this is a really good setup for Wildcard. I think that they have a chance at making this even. All right.
Yep. Oh no, as well. That's Fisho, who's an absolute menace at top yellow. That's a big, big pick. And now Chiefs not only play with a man down, but also the C4. Fisho has been overall quiet in stage 2 of both OCN and APAC South. This is just not the greatest stage for him. However, Chiefs are still very much in a good place. They are sitting second. That nade, how good is that? God Legion can't get away. And although Worthy finds a kill, it's almost not for naught. He does find it, and it's so crucial that he does, because a 5 versus 3 is a little bit disgusting.
Oh, Wildcard have just turned it up here. Chiefs are really put under the pump now. They still have digital on the Echo, but Wildcard have just made such good time management, which means they have the flexibility here. The IQ is still alive as well, which means if time does run low, they're going to know where these yokais are. And that's really important for the late execute. Also, just seeing all the Wildcard boys that we're used to seeing frag out start to pick up now with Vinny and Milo really coming into their own. That is inspiring a lot of confidence in me.
Certainly is. They may well have just been able to completely turn this game on its head. And really, it would be... I would say it's a great test of character right now, this game.
Totally.
And it would be really telling of Wildcard and their progress back into form this stage. It's just been so good to see. And they might be able to continue it here, Dev. Although there are still 3 mighty players from the Chiefs standing. You don't want to give them anything.
We've hyped up Worthy a lot. Vast has also had a really great season as well. Worthy's in a good position to flank, and Vast does take down Emo. I believe that means we still have that mirror up in public bathroom. Wildcard's struggling to take it down. In fact, there's 2 mirrors in public bathroom. One has been shot out, and Vinny's now found that pick. That is really big. Milo's also flooding the site here, and in comes Geo to take down Digital. It is all on Worthy, 1v2.
Oh, he's got the players in his sight, but he can't make it work. A great comeback from Wildcard equals it out 3 apiece. Three first half, really nice from Wildcard to show their character and show their strength. It's been really nice to see a team come back into form. Speaking of someone that really, well, an organization that's in form and never really left it, I'll be honest, Dev, is of course the wonderful Livin that we are once again so grateful to be working with. They are, of course, just one of, I would say, one of the top, mental health organizations that allows us to kind of discuss some pretty serious stigmas around it. Of course, it ain't weak to speak. Now, if you do want to get on board with their merch, all of us casters have been wearing it, and of course, we have been promoting it, but I can tell you right now, it is because it's such a great product. If you want to, of course, look as swaggerlicious as we do, type !Livin, Livin, in the Twitch chat. And have a look at the prompts there, and of course 15% off. All you have to do is type OCN 15 checkout, and that's all you need to do. So once again, very happy to have them back with us, Dev.
Totally. We're rocking their shirt at the minute. Very, very comfy. Would recommend. Also, they got a winter collection as well, which is pretty good if you're in one of the colder parts of the region at the moment. I was going to say the country, but let us not forget the rest of OCE. A lot of New Zealand does get very chilly as well.
Bit nippy.
It does. Been to the South Island before. Absolutely beautiful place.
Never been there. Never
You're
been
lost,
there
man.
once.
You're lost.
I know. Oh, and it's God Legion's lost too. Milo is starting to pop off, which is just terrifying if you're a Chiefs fan. Oh my God! Put a leash on this man. He's unstoppable.
Oh, I think I just ruined my living merch with that one. What a play from Milo, and Wildcard can just fall back to sight. Garage and Cafeteria is on the agenda here, and they can just fold back 4v3 at the minute. And Chiefs have got a lot of work to do. Is the breach open? It's not yet. So, man, there is a lot of work to be done.
Certainly is, Vinny. Getting a little bit uncomfortable there. He'll back away. Oh, this would be cheeky. Already pre-prepped. A very common line for players to try to flush out. But it doesn't look like they're going to have enough to really get that vertical control, so it's not going to be of any concern to them.
Ooh.
Have they been able to get anything here? They have. Oh, no, the right side. Okay, at the very least, they get something, Dev.
Oh, and here comes the rush as well. Fisho and Vast going to send it straight on through. Pat doesn't seem to be aware of this. And as a result, oh my God, he gets team killed. And suddenly it's just Finny. 1v2. He's got this long line of sight, though. He might actually be able to get in a position to deny the plan. But that air jab is everything. And now a 1v2 with both players outside Garage. Very, very difficult long arm for him to manage. And Worthy, who else, locks in the final kill. What a salvage from Chiefs.
Couldn't have come at a more important time as well. First round of the second half. It's on their attack. They take a basement defense, which is so crucial. And of course, we do have a sound bug for poor God Legion. Regardless, though, not to be understated how important that round could be in the scheme of things here for the Chiefs. You know, Wildcard were absolutely popping off. That is really just uncomfortable to watch from Milo. I hate to see that.
Yeah, almost as astonishing was Milo's double kill as was what Chiefs managed to do on the back of it, right? It was, I believe, a 3v4, eventually a 3v5, eventually a 3v4 because Milo was traded, down to a 2v1, which is really, really big ups to Chiefs for managing to come back from that. That call from them was just excellent for Vast and Fisho Guy to rush the breach with Worthy on yellow stairs. Now, starting to become a little bit of a theme here for Wildcard, sadly, is the team kills. And yes, we definitely did see a pretty dirty team kill there by accident. I believe it was Gio took down Pat. A bit rattled, I think, by that rush. So credit to Chiefs, but yeah, Wildcard, while we had hyped them up and said with that 3 round in a row, they were looking to build some confidence and some momentum. It looks like they have just been served.
Now they've got to rethink and rejig how they're going to approach this attacking half. All smiles once again. Really doesn't take much for them, does it?
No, doesn't. By the way, we are just having a bit of a tech pause at the minute. We've got a sound bug on the side of Chiefs. So they're just getting, I believe it is, Fisher guy. It's God Legion. There you go. Yeah, got back in there. But they're having a bit of a laugh, which is always nice to see. I just love the energy from these guys. Like, Vast probably just checking Twitter or something right now. He's like, oh, yeah, let's see if I got anyone in my DMs on the Insta. Like, you know, where are we at?
Hang on, let me see if he is. I'm going to very quickly drop him a quick line. see whether he's...
see if he replies. Ah, he puts it down.
Oh, bugger
Gotta
off,
stay
Vast.
hydrated.
We'll wait and see in a second whether he is checking the old Twitter DMs. It'll be sure to be a ripe one. Now,
We gotta tell them
Honestly.
sometime, be like, hey, can you like say this to the camera, or like look at the camera and do this? We'll see if we can organize something with the players. I reckon, especially the Chiefs, like those guys would 100% play along.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt they would. Now back into the thick of it, Dev Marta. It's not a great start to Wildcard's defense, but most certainly they'll be reattempting and just tidying up any kind of errors there. I don't know if it's any, like, I don't even think it's necessarily errors as much as it was the Chiefs just playing a really decent end round there. And I'm sure there's probably many people that are going to sit there and say, you're absolutely bonkers. But I do think that that was a really good call from Chiefs to just send that there. Weren't too many options left.
It was forced errors, right? Like, I think people, especially a lot of casters, tend to get a bit caught up in like, oh, I know this team played that so badly, but very rarely is it that cut and dried, right? Like, usually we're looking at a situation where one team didn't play that well and another team played well. And I think in that situation right there, Chiefs did an amazing little kind of 3v4 rush execute. And Wildcard just weren't ready for it. It's not like you can really fault Wildcard. Like, yes, they can do things to perhaps be a little bit more ready for that, and that's why they're repeating. But I don't think you can really blame them too much.
Oh, hello? What's... Oh, I mean,
Very
that would have been nuclear. It literally would have been a nuclear bomb going off. 2 players down on that. But instead,
Oh,
wow, that's a huge kill for Digital to pick up. Catches him on the retreat
Far out.
and nearly a second as well.
yeah, nice attempt at the refrag there from Milo, but Digital was ready for it. And yes, like you said, really good opening for the Chiefs, and they found a second now, especially with this Jackal on the cards. Things are getting quite difficult for Wildcard as they are spotted out. Milo is retreating back. This was also a 6-pick from Vast off of the Yana. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here from the Chiefs, and they have set themselves up for a very strong Garage attack once again.
Maybe it's Chiefs' turn to misstep in a small portion. Surely that's, I was going to say, surely that's not big enough to send a C4 through. The angle on that would just be incredibly dangerous.
Jeez.
However, it's just, this is just going from bad to worse for Wildcard. It's bit by bit, play by play. They've given themselves an opportunity here with a really nice C4, but they've got so much more to do with only so few manpower.
Emo and Pat going to have a really big round here, and while Emo does have a C4 left, that is not how you want to use it. And lots of time here for Chiefs, so all they've got to do is just play this slow and steady. They don't have to do anything too crazy. Oh, and that is going to make it a heck of a lot easier now. That is going to close it. So Chiefs, very, very nice spat of attacks here onto Garage Cafeteria. They are starting to run away with this game.
Yep. Kind of feels like this is just the Chiefs really bodying Wildcard in the later stages here. This is a Wildcard tactical timeout, one that is most certainly called upon and it really comes at a perfect time. Need to take a beat, take a moment. That's 2 basement defenses done and dusted. They're not going to reattempt it by the looks of it. They may well just tune back, go to the lobby press.
I think that is the right call here for Wildcard. That first Garage defense, I wouldn't be losing too much sleep over, but that second one, they just got completely picked apart on the roam. And Chiefs bringing the Jackal in as well was really, really effective. And Wildcard, very unimpactful. Just change it up, try and do something a little bit fresh. Especially because they had established that momentum at the second half of the first half, right? 3 rounds in a row. Then to go in a bit of a drought here is concerning. Now, there's no second chances for Wildcard. If they are to take the 3 points out of this game, they have to win 4 rounds in a row. Whereas Chiefs, on the other side, they have a little bit of breathing room here. They just need 1 round to secure at least the 1 point, guarantee overtime. And they have another 3 rounds buffer, I guess, where they could just close it out in regulation and still claim those 2 points.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Wildcard
Attackers have located
very
bombs.
much leaning into the lobby hold this time around. And I guess it really does become a point where you have to question how viable is a site, no matter how strong you feel or strongly you feel about it. There really does become a point where you got to stop asking questions and you just got to try and figure out your new answer. And that may well be on this site. This may be what can turn the tides, but you really can't allow this to go any further. Just said it then. You cannot allow it to
5 seconds remaining.
head to the point where Chiefs are in overtime. It's essentially that point secured, and where Chiefs are right now, you know, they've almost secured playoffs, if not already. And this win would certainly put them right up there on the standings. They would be still holding second, even testing first with Bliss, depending on their score tonight. That's a little while away, though, so keep the attention here and now. Thought for a second
Like this.
that Chiefs were going to find something down in that archives, but they certainly are not going to.
That said, there is a roamer down here in the lockers hallway, and it is Pat, and he would be very unlikely to suspect a Chiefs player already in the position that we see God Legion placed. I like that early map control. Oh, he's going to just walk right into him.
Not ideal. Not ideal at all. We're moving through this at a pretty rapid pace, considering the technical issues that we have been having. Geo gets flushed out and forced into the long desk. Look at this from Digital. Needs to be careful. Both players are going to swing it right now.
No.
What have they done? They've just given one.
Oh,
my
no.
God! The Chiefs have just capitalized, Dev. Emo Rin, surely there's not a hope in hell of a 1 versus 4.
What a gamble for Wildcard, and Digital will happily pad his stats with that one. Emo Rin is going to have to be a mad lad here. In the 1v4, he has a great gun for it, but my God, there's just such a slim chance he'll make it happen. He can take down Vast, he's naded out, so low on HP. Refrag attempting to come through, and Digital, another pick on the round. Look at him go. Whoa! That's match point for Chiefs.
The finger guns. I wouldn't be finger gunning, mate. You were 1-5 at the start of that round. Settle down. Love you, Digital. Or DGTL, sorry, as your correct pronunciation is. But this was a much better round from the Chiefs capitalizing on it all. I think Digital ended up with a 3K there, so of course he's more than welcome to finger gun and scream the woos in the old team comms.
I love that they get into it. I really do love it. And I think objectively, it's got to have a positive impact on your performance.
Yeah.
Like, if you are like having fun and really just getting into it, like, yes, one might argue, oh, you could be spending that time talking about strats. In this game, strats are important, right? But when you're in the server, whoever clicks 5 heads on the opposition wins the round. And sometimes what is going to make that work isn't some fancy convoluted strat or some really like serious conversation where you nut out whatever the problems were in the previous round. Sometimes it's just about confidence and trust in your teammates and positive energy. And that is what you have when Chiefs are up and about like that.
Well, look, I just think back to the caster stack, you know? I just think back to what happens when we all get a bit rowdy, and I tell you what, my goodness, how easy is it to play? How easy is it when all the boys are hyping up, when you've got people like Guz screaming in your ear? Just don't let him get disappointed, though. That's where things get a little bit messy. Speaking of messy, this may be a basement rush. This may be Chiefs sending it to take the win here, Dev.
Oh,
Do
the
they have
window's
it?
late. They're actually going upstairs. At least God Legion is. He's going to find the open onto Finn. He's sending it straight up. The trade comes through for Milo. And downstairs, it is a bloodbath for Wildcard. There was such a narrow opportunity there for the Chiefs to run away with it, but the gamble doesn't seem to pay off. They have let Wildcard back into this, but the thing is, you make a gamble like that and it doesn't work, you're not going and smashing your desk. You're okay with that. You're just like, mate, you know, it happens sometimes. Shit happens. That doesn't matter. We move on. We still have match point.
That we do. The thing is, the fact that they even try that just shows the joyous nature of their own comms and their own spirit right now. The problem for Worthy is no matter where he goes, you can see you can see Pat on the pulse literally following him around like a bad smell. He literally will not let him move in a single direction without passing the information over to Wildcard. This becomes a near impossible task. He's probably wondering how on earth, where are they coming from? Guess what? Not a chance here, Worthy.
Boop! There's Wildcard for their first round in quite some time. They do get back into the game, but they've got to do a lot more legwork than that to make this overtime. One more chance for Chiefs to lock this down in regulation. Or rather, two more chances for Chiefs to lock this down in regulation. But for Wildcard, there are no second chances.
No. I'll certainly say one thing that I do notice a lot when we see the Wildcard comms, when we get to see the player cams, is Milo talking a hell of a lot. Which is insane considering how frag heavy he is. You know, one of the strongest players, again, statistically speaking, can really do some damage, and the fact that he'd be bringing insight as well, you know, tactical insight to the team, is pretty insane. Now, Chiefs have attempted this twice in a row, and sadly, sorry, not Chiefs, Wildcard have attempted basement twice in a row, and sadly have not been successful in this defense. They have to hope and pray that they've got this figured out.
This was definitely the most scary round for Wildcard. I guess both of their defenses at this bomb site were very, very scary. And, like, in particular that first round, right? It was Milo found a really nutty 2K at the start and then was traded, and Wildcard kind of threw that 4v3 advantage they had on the back of Chiefs playing really well. On the back of Chiefs having that really, really nice breach rush with Vast and Fisho. And then the second defense that Wildcard tried here, it was just completely shocking on the roam. They got picked apart. Milo's been hitting a shot, so I'm glad that he's the first point of contention here.
Yeah. Give the player with confidence the opportunity to open these rounds up. You might just find yourself with the man advantage. It's the best place to be. Now, he is going to be contested from long desk, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. At the very least, Chiefs are setting themselves up to flush those players out on the CEO side. Digital, I would dare say, has been able to get a little bit of information there as Vinny's been tagged up. Not sure where that was from. And with that, Wildcard are certainly forced to back away. The show guy does go down, though.
Yeah, and is the breach walled? Is the wall breached? Let's have a look. It's not. So that is no thermite. Look, Chiefs cannot have a breach rush this round. They can't get either of the hatches open. And by all rights, they should really lose this round. So they have to pivot. They're going to kind of try and force this back push because they literally don't have any other option. And with two roamers already at the back here, it's not likely to work. Digital is a really nice flick, but he is traded back.
Certainly a massive point for Milo to step up. Don't trade that back in a 4v4 the way the Chiefs are playing. Questions would be asked, but for now, it's Milo going to be holding the line from the back of Archives all the way down to Spiral Death. Just needs to be careful of the drop. You could see him kind of inclining to look toward the hatch rather than just straight down Spiral Stairs. Two players that are left, Vast and God Legion, are both capable of bringing this back. It's just a matter of how much time they'll have to do so, because they don't have a lot going for them.
They really don't. No breach, barely an ingress onto site. Even the breaching charge is muted. He's going to try and shoot out the mute jammer. God Legion does actually find a kill. Very nice angle above the mirror window, but Pat has a strong position here at side white. He has so much mobility thanks to that wall not being breached. Plus, there are 2 mirrors facing this front side. This is so difficult for Chiefs.
Got to be impossible. Surely there's no way for them on site. God Legion, where is he going to be coming from? Because if he can find a kill, it's actually Vast that's coming from Spiral Stairs. It's God Legion that was stuck on yellow. And Wildcard do a great job at dismissing what was a heroic attempt to begin with. And now we head to round 12. Are Chiefs going to kick themselves if this goes to overtime? Mind you, that rush on match point could determine whether they were able to finish this early and go, or whether they're stuck in the server with Wildcard.
That's it. Sometimes all it takes is one round that doesn't go your way and things start to spiral. Chiefs will take a tactical timeout. If you want to point to anything that went wrong that round, it was simply just Fisher getting spawn peeked. That is almost the whole round there. Like, I know it sucks to say, but literally, once your Thermite dies on basement with no main wall breach, oh my god, Digital's got his mates in. Get out of here.
I wonder what he's saying, because it was his choice. I'm sure it was part of him that was saying, let's rush this. He could already be done. He could be on his way to the city with the boys, you know what I mean?
Yep. Could well be the case. Digital, gotta pull your head in, mate. If you want to go out, you better polish this off right here. Otherwise, you're going to be bleeding some points. I can't believe Digital uses the tactical timeout to go and grab his mate. It's like, it's a tactical timeout, dude. Tactical.
He is a comedian at his finest, I'll say that much. He brings us a lot of joy here as commentators, Dev. I am worried right now with the way Wildcard have been progressing in the last 2 rounds. They are really in a strong point. They are in the driver's seat. We head back to the lobby defense, hopefully to see some kind of success. Again, they've attempted this once before, unsuccessfully though.
Yeah, that's it. So this would be, I mean, I know we're starting to spell a bit of a grim tale for Chiefs, but yeah, Wildcard are not yet to win this bomb site. And last time Chiefs won it, it was pretty clear cut. Remember, Digital got a 3K. It was just Wildcard getting a little bit too aggro, really trying to push for those refrags, and Chiefs just holding the line. Like that Valkyrie camera, though, it's actually just kind of underneath the top cabinet on that little bench there in copy. And that floor in that room is also soft, so you can get a vertical C4 and potentially a stack of kills. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen that here in OCN.
No. It feels like every week we're seeing at least a double kill with C4s.
Yeah.
Really, really has been a great highlight on the reel. Early on here, Chiefs looking to put pressure from the western side of the building across. The big point about this is going to be that public bathroom control that Emo Rin has, and that top floor can't... I just don't think you can afford to dismiss it at all. You really need to address that, and preferably sooner rather than later.
Looks like a lot of pressure is... Oh my god, does Pat see his leg? There's going to be not a lot of damage here. He really needs to be able to get a clearer shot. Oh, desperately trying. I think the threat indicator did come up for the attacker on the rappel there, so unfortunately for Pat, he doesn't get that. Milo's so keen here to contest yellow stairs. Oh, Pat might get cut off. There was a player in dungeon. Oh, this is scary. Wait, was there a player in dungeon? I swear there was. Was he outside? Did I get debated?
I think you got debated. Usually it's me that gets debated, so I'm glad that it wasn't me this time. Now, Milo. Oh my god, what is with these contestants? Oh,
nice!
See you later, God Legion. That is a massive pick to start with. God Legion's been pretty hot for Chiefs so far this game. Both in and out of the server. Haha.
Yeah, and look at this on the back of it. Gio's got this really strong control here in yellow stairs. Looks like Wildcard are playing this defense quite fluidly. It's making it very difficult for Chiefs to establish a foothold. But where did Emo die? That's my question, because of course, remember, this is lobby and press as a defense, so Chiefs don't necessarily have to clear this top floor if they can form execute onto Piano.
Oh my goodness, Worthy just sends it into CEO. He'll find a kill, but it's quickly traded out by Milo. That still means that Milo is alive. Feeling healthy and well. Pat will be able, once again, to continue transferring this information across.
Oh!
Digital has to hit that, but Geo absolutely deletes him. Chiefs crumble, and it's all under Vast with 20 seconds.
1v2. No diffuser.
15 seconds
What
to
can
go.
Vast do? He's not being contested. He's got to hunt for these
10
kills.
seconds to go.
No hope of really making this one work by the looks of it, as he desperately looks for a foe, but they will simply hide, and the timeout will run out. Wildcard have made this comeback 3 rounds in a row and pushed overtime.
Chiefs stumble and fall. 3 attempts on match point to convert, and they have not been able to do so. Sure, they secured a point. If you want to look at it in the positive light, the Chiefs secured 1 point, which will put them on 10 points in the standings. At the absolute max, they will only be able to take 11 points away from this game. As in, they will only be able to be on 11 points, I should say. And that really just does not sit well when you had such a great opportunity in front of you. Really, if they don't close this out here, woo! The questions will be asked.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused.
You said it earlier, Chiefs are going to be kicking themselves. That there are 2 things that really Chiefs, I think, would be unhappy with. Firstly is that failed rush, right? I mean, and I encouraged them at the time. I said, hey, this is no big deal. And I still stand by that, but
Yep.
hindsight's 2020, right? But I think the real kicker for me is the round where we saw Fisho guy get spawn peaks. A whole minute into the round, Pat was playing really aggressively as Kaid on the yellow stairs with the 1.5 times scope. And I mean, Fisho, like, it's a hard life being a support player, and they cop a lot of flack. Like, man's negative KD at the moment. But at the end of the day, Fisho could get 0 kills on the round. If he gets that main wall open, he has done his job, right? Like, that is the #1 priority for him as an operator. But he can't just do that straight away. He's got to drone in his teammates to clear off the util. And as soon as that was done, as soon as he started to make a move, unfortunately, he was spawn peaked. And that is the reason, in my opinion, that Wildcard have built up this momentum and pushed to overtime. Now Chiefs attacking that same bomb site. Can they make good on their mistakes?
Gonna have to here. Oh my goodness, the perfectly cooked grenade catches Pat trying to pocket the Electroclaw once more. And that's going to be both walls open. This is a really great start for the Chiefs, 40 seconds in. And they have prime positioning out of Garage. Now it's just about what else they want to kind of tee up before they decide to push in.
Well, it's very difficult to go for an execute when that mirror is up. And ideally, you also want to clear out these positions, such as pipes where Emo is playing at the moment. Now, the best way to clear this is vertically. You can also try nade it from the breach, but ideally, you want to go into Piano, open up the floor above. But in order to do that, then you have to clear Geo off the roam. So it's not a simple equation here for the Chiefs. And at the moment, they're stacking up for what looks to be a 5-man breach, potentially Worthy or another Chiefs player could repel on Piano and cut off some pressure from there. But it looks like this is going to be very much a breach-centric kind of execute, which really does put some onus on Geo and Milo to have an impact on this roam.
Now, look at that drone department. It's not all bad news, but they are slowly starting to run out of them. Trying to put themselves in a good position to, one, be able to watch any of those flanks, not necessarily flanks, I guess, at this point, but being able to utilize them in that post-plant situation will be quite important, especially if they lose a couple of players. Now, 50 seconds. How much have they really done outside of opening these walls? It just feels like it's kind of been stunted to a point.
looks like they have cleared the middle floor, but they're always going to be worried about that top floor and the drop that could come through from Geo. Now, there is a pick on site. Vast does make an opening, and here come the Chiefs. They roll on in. Vast has had an insane round. The Chiefs make it flawless. Digital can't believe it. And once again, they have match point.
Let me just decipher Digital. My brain is so big. My brain is so big. That is what he's just said. I don't really know if I would say big, but you've certainly taken a cheeky little round off of Wildcard there. It only took you 3 to finally crack their defense again, but hey, we'll give it to you. The confidence is peaking, isn't it?
Oh,
it is.
totally
It is. Yeah.
I just love that. You know, there were 38 seconds on the clock when they found that first pick, right? And there were 32 seconds on the clock when the round ended. So, like, that was literally like 2.5 minutes of lead up and 6 seconds of action. It took Chiefs 6 seconds to find 5 kills.
Siege confuses me so much. It confuses. Siege.
Have you heard
I tell you what.
Have you heard of the idiom, measure twice, cut once? Well,
No.
Siege is like, measure 350 times and then cut once. And that's exactly what Chiefs demonstrated right there. And it was just amazing. It was beautiful.
Like, the fact that you can wait such a long period of time and then all in a matter of, so you blink, and honest to God, if you blinked, you would have missed that entirety. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and look, it's warranted, right? All that lead up, and I'll break it down a little bit, do a quickie. Chiefs just, they had the breach open. They made sure that there wasn't any like hard stop util, such as like a Maestro or Echo that's going to like deny that plant. They make sure that they knew where all the players on site were. They knew how many were on site and how many were off site. They got Worthy in antechamber upstairs to cut off the flanks that no doubt would happen as soon as they execute on the site, right? These roamers are going to come back. So he's cutting off the flanks. And then it's just a matter of, okay, we know where they're on site. Let's push in and refrag together. And they won all their fights. They were all set up for trades if needed. Didn't end up being needed at all. That is just stellar Siege from Chiefs.
And now they've got an opportunity to do so on their defense. Might be able to replicate a similar response. Bit of information on the player sitting behind the table and meeting. However, he has since vacated the premises. Really, Wildcard kind of managing decently for time. They've got that top floor control, starting to clear out any of those flanks. They still need to be cautious. I believe there may be one player contesting over in CEO that could just continue to be a thorn in the side if they're not completely careful. There it is, God Legion as well, and he is on the Vigil. That's dangerous.
He has been playing this Vigil quite a bit. And on the Teller's Archives defense Chiefs had in the past, he did play it. They did win it on the first go and lost it on the second go. In fact, it was a flawless round for Wildcard. If you recall, they just set up so well for that execute and found all the picks they could possibly want. And so far, look, Wildcard aren't looking too bad. One big difference, though, is that there's no IQ, and that means it's going to be much more difficult for them to get, I guess, a good grasp on all the util that's on the defensive side. Fortunately, though, for them, there's no Pulse or Valkyrie on Chiefs' side. So Chiefs are actually going to be a little bit starved for intel as well. Is he execute, though, surely?
Yeah, they've surely got to set up here. That might be perfectly timed. That is two. Pat goes down. Vast and Fisho, however, are quickly traded. Milo putting on a show right now. God Legion's come up spiral stairs. Can he find the timing to deny this plant?
Oh, no!
It is Emo that holds the flank, and it's all Worthy in a 1 versus 4. He's done some unbelievably godlike things in the past. This is out of reach, though.
I hope for Wildcard that it is, but they are giving him these 1v1s. Emo doesn't miss. Wildcard do it once again. They push us every step of the way. We are going to full 15-round overtime here on Consulate.
I'm now convinced that Digital doesn't actually want to go out tonight, and he is forcing this game as long as it can possibly go. He is not happy one bit about all the boys coming over. Said, guys, this is my job. I'm extremely professional. Would you please give me some space? We have a big game tonight. And he's just pushing it further and further to the point where he can chicken out and dog the boys.
Well, no matter what, this round is the final of the map, and hence the series. So, yeah, Digital will, I guess, have the chance to go out with his mates afterwards or whatever he's got planned. But Wildcard do take us to Teller's Archives. Now, they only played this once in their half. Now, remember, the way that Wildcard's defense half panned out was they started Garage Cafeteria twice, and they failed both times. Moved on to Lobby, also failed again, and they had match point against them. Then they finally went down to Teller's Archives, and they won it. And that was the start of that track. They ended up winning 3 rounds in a row to push to overtime. So this is a flawless sight in terms of defense so far for Wildcard.
Big ending to a big game nonetheless. Regardless of which way this swings, there's a claim to be made for both teams.
It would be very big if Wildcard win this. Like, honestly,
I would agree. I would agree.
In Stage 1, Chiefs won both the games that they played against Wildcard. Both were on Clubhouse. One was in Apex South and one was in OCN. The scores for those were 7-4 and 7-2. Like, Chiefs have had Wildcard's number, but, you know, Wildcard have said themselves, there's no more excuses now that we have our full roster going. Milo has been a welcome addition. You can look at his presence on the scoreboard, in the server, and no doubt in the comms as well. Always here to make an impact. And Rob, as we stand at the moment, I've got a feeling that Wildcard are going to make it.
I would definitely agree with you. You know, I'm going to say that Pat on the Pulse has just been giving so much information on their defenses and has really enabled a lot of these tight rounds, a lot of these close calls from Chiefs swinging in their favor. You know, sometimes it can literally just be the smallest pieces of information. And like we were saying before, you're so safe down in Archives. You can continue to use that to full effect. Milo needs to be careful rotating out. It's his counterpart in Worthy that takes him down. And that's the big gunner for Wildcard off the board. It's now time for Geo to step up.
That's a really good opening for Chiefs. That said, Wildcard will be leveraging this vertical hold. So for the most part, their strat is reliant on their players down in Archives, staying alive with their C4s. We still have 2 C4s left. Vinny's might already be placed. I don't know whether it's detonated yet. But Wildcard still have a very strong chance to win this by plant denial. Chiefs having the numbers advantage, though, means they have the flexibility to just send bodies at Wildcard. And it may well come down to that. Might come down to a bloodbath. As Vast goes straight on in and tries to take down the player on the other side, starving Wildcard of the information.
Love this from Vast, but he needs to be careful. He's dancing with the devil at the moment. There's 2 C4s still on the side of Wildcard. If they find the timing here, it could be detrimental. 30 seconds left. No one's really making any kind of firm move. It's a double kill for Worthy as now Geo chimes in. The C4 doesn't hit. Worthy, this is huge because Fisho guy's sticking it. They just need to be careful of the flanks right now, Dev.
Geo!
There's only 40 seconds for them to make a play. Geo gets shut down instantly, and it's Pat and Emo Rin to try and claim this round back.
And they do a little bit of work taking down Vast. Emo and Pat on for the retake. 2 versus 2. 25 seconds as the time slips away. Worthy is still alive. Last week's MVP. And he is not giving up on this just yet. He will hold on for as long as possible. And there is just no time left, Rob.
Oh, Digital going down, though. Goodness me. It's all Worthy. He finds it right at the end. And you can see the sigh of relief on the Chiefs. Digital and Vast thanking their lucky stars.
Look at
A heartbreaking end for Wildcard, but promising showing from both teams here. It's 2 points for the Chiefs, but it's the dub that matters.
What a tight affair, and you can see Worthy, Vast, and Digital. I cannot believe it! A sigh of relief for the Chiefs. They take home the dub, 2 points in a 15-round barn burner against Wildcard. If you're a nervous nail biter, then I don't think you'll have any nails left after that game. What an insane romp we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be asking Digital what was going on in your head, because that
Mate.
would have been exhilarating to say the very least, Dev. I think you've said it perfectly there. A barn burner is the best way to describe that one. Back and forth the entire time, but I think credit is given fully to Wildcard there. They never seem to give up in that fight, no matter how close Chiefs were to edging over the corner and taking the win. They continue to fight, to their credit.
Yeah, really, overall that was a very strong game from Wildcard, and they had some very questionable moments, but I think they're looking better as a team, and they can take a lot away from this. Love the slow-mo there on the shot from Milo. Credit to our beautiful production team at ESL Australia, who do an amazing job here on OCN. But, of course, it was Chiefs who came out on top. Wildcard, we can give them all the credit they deserve, but at the end of the day, we can no longer hold them to a lowered standard. They are no longer playing with their manager, and they have very high expectations of themselves. And today, it was once again Worthy who went nuts. 14 kills. That's not counting the rehost. He had 5 before he rehosted, right? 19 kills. Almost dropping the 20 bomb. And once again, he is a contestant for the MVP.
Yeah, it might even just stick a fork in it. It might be done after that performance.
Do I have to interview him again, like, this week? Because I just interviewed him.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit more precise from you, I think, in that interview. It'll be a lot more about the game, the exact map, and how it's all unfolded for him as a... I just can't believe that he's consistently putting up these kind of results. And to touch on that as well, Milo 14-10 and Geo on 14-9. This is the Geo of old that we saw at the end of 2020, and this is the Milo that has really just been tearing it up in Stage 2.
Absolutely. Wildcard have been brought back to life, and Geo and Milo both have been instrumental parts of that. I will say, Vinny had a tough game again, but unfortunately, that's it's been a bit of a trend for him recently. On top of the fact that, he did start this game with a DC and some tech issues, and no doubt that played into his mental. But overall, really good game from Wildcard, I will say. Credit to them, but I think the talking point here is Chiefs. They probably let it slip a little bit further than it should have, but they came in clutch when it mattered.
Yeah, sometimes that's all that matters, Dev, is just making sure you get over the edge and getting over the line. Sometimes you can do it crawling, sometimes you can do it sprinting, and it definitely felt like it was a bit more of a hard-fought victory in that sense. I think overall, we can look back at that match and probably ask a few questions, and guess what? We're going to ask the questions of Digital. Let's bring him in. Let's figure out what on earth has just happened, Digital. Oh my God, he's already changed shirts. Hey, he's all ready to get out. Yeah, I know. We know. We've been watching you this whole time. Let me ask you this as you prepare for your night out. Sorry, mate. Hang on. We'll ask this really quickly. Mate, what's going on there? You were 6-3 up and it's gone OT. What are we thinking?
I love my teammate. Worthy is the best player I've ever seen. And Morgan had some amazing calls that match. Vast was instrumental. God is always instrumental. We just played so good tonight. There were some times where it was it got a bit shaky, but as always, we sort of regroup ourselves and keep our eyes on the prize. So yeah, no, it was good tonight. It was good.
Well, I was going to say, when it did end up getting pushed a little bit close there, in that final round, we could see reaction afterwards, really, really stressed out. How frantic was it in the comms in those moments?
It's never frantic. I was just in an awkward position, and I was I don't know, I was just worried because I was hoping I'd wasted enough time. I should have probably killed that pulse. But Worthy got the other guy was defusing, and the rest is sort of history you guys saw. So it wasn't frantic, to answer your question. It was calm, but probably my mental was frantic, as anyone should. Like, I don't know, 7-7. That was nuts. Oh my god.
Well, we won't keep you going too much longer, but I did want to ask, what are the plans for your Saturday night, dude? Because you clearly got some.
It's my birthday today, so
Dude!
yeah.
How do we not know this?
Well, how do you think I can?
I don't know.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
brother! And congrats
Cheers,
on
guys,
taking
cheers.
the dub on your birthday.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's good. Good to get the W. I was telling my teammates that for a little bit of a B-Day present. I wouldn't mind the W, and they delivered. So yeah. No, I'll head out. I'll see the boys. I've got an awesome support group that supports what I do. So they're understanding that I'm playing a game on my birthday, and I'll see them soon, sort of thing. So that's why you see me getting ready and going.
I
Mate,
love it.
not only did we see you getting ready, we saw all of the boys rocking up. We saw the whole crowd. Don't you worry. So you know what? We got places to be, people to see. Happy birthday, Digital, and we will see you next week.
Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. Cheers to the cast.
Jeez, a busy man, a man after our own heart, Dev. It's a great performance for him on his birthday. And look, to be honest, the Chiefs are going to be happy. They've taken the 2 points, but again, they've taken the win over Wildcard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so hung up on Digital. What a unit. Like, ugh. It's just every time we get an interview with him, I'm just filled with wholesome vibes. And the fact that, that was all his mates over and, they're really supportive of him. Even though it's his birthday, they come over to his house and he's like, as soon as we finish the game, we're off. Like, oh, what a legend. Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad for his sake that he won the game, because if they had lost that in overtime after being on match point 4 times, yeah, I think that would have been a pretty awkward birthday dinner.
It would have been very awkward nonetheless, but let's be honest, Digital's out and so are we. We're going to head to a short break, and on the other side, it could potentially be another barn burner. It's Bliss taking on Order. See you in a minute.